For working remotely, should you have a laptop or a desktop? Now, if you only have a desktop for remote work, I think remote work is going to be very hard for you. So put it into like risks, for example. The risk of having a remote job and you're at a desktop and say your power goes out. You can't work anymore. I mean, you can buy a UPS, so you buy a UPS and that fixes the problem. Risk solved. You have another problem, you're in an apartment and the plumbing goes bad, it explodes, chaos everywhere, the maintenance guys come in and you can't be there for the entire day. It's a Wednesday. Can't work. You have to take the day off, short-term notice, maybe an hour before you do that, you may lose your job, you may make it very angry. I kind of doubt you're gonna lose your job, but you just might. You never know. Um, so you can't work that day. That's a risk. Uh, you know, and a lot of other risks, like say you have an emergency to go somewhere, you have an emergency to see your family or something happened, and maybe 5 or 6 hours away. You can't really bring your desktop to there. At least not something that makes sense. Your desktop, you're gonna lug that plus a monitor plus a keyboard and mouse. That stuff is pretty heavy. It takes a while to set up and everything. So having only a desktop is a very bad solution because it takes away everything what you have for a remote job. That's the freedom to move around to other places, the freedom to have your office anywhere you want. You primarily want it in your own home, but the flexibility of having that is really great. So, do I recommend only having a laptop, having like a really powerful computer like a MacBook Pro or the new Razer Blade? Um, I don't recommend that for some people. I do recommend that for people like web developers or yeah, web developers, for example, they don't need a lot of power. So having a laptop, kind of have more portability. The power is not going to be there. Now I have a desktop and a laptop. My desktop now I do YouTube, I do video editing, I do all this type of stuff. So I want the fastest thing that I can get with the money that I have. So I got a desktop and I use my laptop that's 3 years old now. So what I recommend doing is if you have like $1,000 budget for computers, invest $800 into a desktop, $200 into a really cheap laptop, or even $100. A used one doesn't really matter as long as it works. And take all of your programming stuff and put it all into like Google Drive or SkyDrive. I prefer Google Drive. So whenever you go on your laptop, it's already there. You just download it, and maybe you update your IDE and you're ready to go. I recommend that because you have a very powerful machine, very, very, very powerful machine um, for maybe half the cost. I mean, my computer, you can't really even get a laptop that with that performance, really, to be honest, for the CPU and everything with that performance without having a laptop that overheats all the time. Um, there's a plus, very big plus in that, and so having a desktop and a laptop has very big things with it. Now you want a laptop that actually can do stuff. No Chromebooks here. You can have I prefer having the same operating system all around. So having Windows and Windows or Linux and Linux, keep it the same. Be very simple and the same, so it feels familiar on both computers. Now switching from one computer to another computer is another story. How to set it up, how to make it so it's very similar and it's very easy to maneuver to one to the other. But you probably figured that out. Maybe I'll make another video on that, but I do recommend putting your stuff on Google Drive. Everything that you have for work on Google Drive. Google Drive is pretty safe. They're not really gonna just steal your information. I think there's so many things in Google Drive. Why would they steal your, I recommend, yeah, that a desktop and